My name's Jill Sawyers. I'm 51 years old and I come from England. I heard about raw and living foods approximately 3.5 years ago in London when Brian Clement from Hippocrates Health Institute was over giving some talks. I'd been looking for some time for something that was connected with the food side as opposed to just nutrition. And as soon as I heard Brian open his mouth, I just knew I'd found what I was looking for, even though it covers more than just the food. I then went to Hippocrates Health Institute, went as a patient, and then I went back and did the health educator course, plus some volunteering work over several months. I think in England we have a very large vegan-vegetarian group, but they've originally for their various reasons of becoming vegan-vegetarian, but it's not been so much connected, I think, with health. Now they're beginning to understand that. I think for raw and living food, they're delighted, but it's trying to push it through to the masses, which is going to be slow. My way of putting it forward is, I believe it's very important for the individuals to taste. And once they realize that there's not such a, it doesn't need to be a dramatic change, it can be done slowly. And if they want it to relate to the taste that they're used to, there are ways of doing this without making it too rich. But it's still all raw and living food. I think there's still a lot of difficulty for people to relate to vegetarian. If you put a meal in front of them without telling them, they love it. But as soon as you say it's vegetarian or it's raw and living food, they just think of a piece of broccoli. In England, the people in England, they like their meat and 2 vegetables or whatever, and roast beef and roast chicken. These are very popular. Then we have our casseroles and plenty of potatoes. And then, of course, we're back to the burger and chips and Kentucky fries. You know, you just see everybody going for that sort of food, unfortunately. I think England still have their filling foods, but they have improved tremendously. I mean, I know that they've overtaken France on their standard of food and the chefs, and that there is a high standard of food there now. But those restaurants are covering Italy and various countries. But as the basic diet, I would say is actually very similar to the States. I think there's in Portugal, for example, I find there's a great interest there. They're very much interested in preventative, and also because the Western world has moved into Portugal, they're very lucky to see a variety of things all coming in at once. So they're very interested in participating. And I find with the people I'm dealing with, especially in Portugal, most of the people I deal with are Portuguese. Their diet is very difficult to, for some of them obviously to change, it's just as dramatic as being in England. But I find for me, they're more forthcoming. And they go to vegetarian, and then they go to take it bit by bit. I do translate everything into Portuguese, which helps. And I try and relate to their food as well. And so far, it seems to be doing very well. My experience with menstruation and menopause, for me, life has been relatively easy. With raw and living foods, they are saying that menstruation isn't so important, that it will happen, and that if it doesn't happen 1 month, that's fine. But through the menopause, and so for me, that's been a normal procedure. But with the menopause, as far as I'm concerned, I've had a very easy time. And I think with the raw foods, that works wonders. I think the hot flushes and things like that, I think when you don't follow the raw foods completely, then they will come along. That's through my experience. But having noticed recently, when I've concentrated totally on raw and not having to eat cooked food when I'm out and about, I'm finding that works tremendously. I mean, that does work. But there should be no cheating involved. And then I think it will work.